I'm not going to say it's, you know, mathematically impossible, but let's be honest, it is going to be a long stretch for MNM to try and get anywhere near, and it's very unlikely at this point. And that's not the end of the world for them. Let's be honest, you don't come into stage one of EUL in your first ever stage thinking, yeah, we're going to the major. You know, there's some very big teams in here that you've got to beat out in order to do that. The thing with MNM at the minute is, you know, forget all the major, forget all of EUL, forget all the other stuff that goes with it. The fact is that MNM are not playing as well as we know they can.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, we know this team is capable of more. We've seen them do more. We know that there's more that they can offer. It's surely just a matter of time until we start seeing it.
That's kind of been the big question since, well, SI really. Outside of their 10 AM games, they look phenomenal. You know, I even went as far as comparing them to TSM in terms of team structure, where their front three of Tyrant, Yuzus, and Solotov was unbelievable. It reminded me an awful lot of what we saw coming out of Merc, Bolo, and Achieved. The backline arguably not as strong here for MNM, and we saw the stats in the pre-game. Neo and Nello, it's not been the dream stage for them at all. And I know Neo had a massive clutch last week. You know, one play doesn't make an entire stage. It certainly doesn't make it for MNM so far, who sit on just a lowly 5 points throughout the stage so far. But Rogue are the team all eyes are on to win this game, to get themselves towards a major, one that I know many of these boys will be dying to get to, and Deepak especially, coming in fresh into this roster for him. What an experience that would be given the stage that he's had so far.
Just going to touch on those operator bans before we load into round number one. Pretty stock standard for the first three, the Flores, the Thatcher, the Mirror. But then how about that little Jaeger ban coming in? MNM are continuing their thread, Des, of just being the, probably, I would say, maybe the most unpredictable operator banning team in EUL so far.
Yep, I think it is turning into one of those very quickly. I love Flores bans personally. I think it's one of those that, if you see something like a Mute being banned away, teams are definitely going to run Flores. If you see a Flores being banned away, well, you probably feel a little more secure not playing Mute as much. Doesn't change anything in this round, though, as Nello is still going to be rolling that one out. It's a very utility-heavy lineup they're looking at it. Look how dug in so many members are behind the Warden, behind the Yokais of the Echo, behind those Mute jammers. They've got smokes to play behind. It's a very safe lineup coming out of MNM for round one.
It is. And the thing is that utility is going to get in there a little bit easier for Rogue, if nothing else, because, of course, the Jaeger off the board, they've got plenty of throwables. They've got 4 frags. They've got the flashes to go in behind. They've not overloaded on it. They've not done too much with it, but it's certainly something that Rogue can maybe look to just take advantage of. They're going to be going for a top floor clearance. I think, yep, all of them are up on the rooftop. So it's going to be all 5 working top to bottom. That should allow them to do things pretty quickly. And we've seen a couple of the Rogue players, particularly over the last week, becoming very deadly on the entry, particularly Crying and Kanto going in there. They're becoming quite the dynamic duo alongside Deepak as well, who's putting up some numbers.
I think when you're enjoying your Siege, Tim, that's when you'll see players at their best. And what we've seen from Crying so far this stage has been, without a doubt, the performance of his career. Looking back in towards CL, you know, he was a very promising player. That's how he got picked up by several teams all the way up to G2. Kind of fell out of grace there and didn't play very well. I think his mentality was rocked a little bit. But what we've seen since then has been nothing short of sublime. Rogue covering out this top floor and working their way down towards the first. Tim, you know my benchmark. We get towards about that 1 minute 30 mark. I want to start seeing the hammer swinging of the sledge. And with this control already established, Rogue are on good pace. And sure enough, at the 130 mark, there is that hammer. It's like clockwork. I love it.
I think they must have been listening to you, Des. That was absolutely timed down to a T there. I'm going to go as far as to say that I feel Kanto may have just held on to that first swing
just
to make sure that he was bang on the mark. Exactly. That first nade is going to go down. It's going to be sucked in by a one-man magnet. Obviously, ADS is not present with that Jaeger ban. It's going to take out a bunch of utility inside a bakery, but it's not going to be taking out anything inside of kitchen for the time being. The ceiling continues to be opened up. We've got the Warden just running about, users inside a bakery, looking to potentially move back in through that rotate into site as well. But all very quiet in terms of gunfights so far. Nitro goes out from users. Doesn't connect, but Kanto does onto Nello.
No surprises there at all. Yep, great opener coming in to pick off the one man. And look at these smoke bolts going in as well. This is why you want the one onside the Warden, but you walk into a nade. almost call it a bait if you want, stepping in towards sight. Solotov getting one back. It all turns on towards these yokais. It's a 2 versus 4. Tyrant and Neo facing down the onslaught of Rogue as this plant is going down. They might be able to deny it away once, but this won't last forever. Trying to find the man. Tyrant can't quite get him, but they use the assist there to get the poke down. 15 seconds left on the clock. They've got to step in and look for a replant here. A drop coming in. Crying, looking to come in with some support as well. Got to look towards the red. In comes the yokais once again, but it doesn't come through. They don't get the inter. The plant is completed. Tyrant gets traded out. A 1 versus 2 for Neo. Rips and Crying should be able to shut this one down because there is a lot of work to do, Tim.
There really is. Neo, he's just looking around, scratching, trying to find anything at the minute. But the most important thing for Rogue is they've got a man above. Rips has gone straight up there on the Nomad, and he's holding that vertical angle. It's going to make it almost impossible for Neo. He can't even get past the first line. Cryan's going to take him down in that immediate defense of the diffuser, and that is going to be round 1. But I just want to give a little shout out there to a bit of teamwork, the sort of which we don't always see too often. Neo and Tyrant using the Echo Drone just to force the head of Kanto up above the desktop there, and Tyrant ready to get the kill. That was really nice and deserves highlighting.
Did get traded out straight after, unfortunately, but yeah, the little bit of team play itself was pretty cute. First round to Rogue then, no surprises at all there. I imagine many of you in the channel have got your channel points going down onto the team in blue as we step in towards Reading and Fireplace. Now, I don't anticipate we'll see Rogue go quite as crazy as what we saw Outsiders. We're just running a Monty, forgetting about clearing top floor, going directly to train and pushing your way through a breach wall and looking for the plant. Yep, that was a pretty cool idea, but I don't think Rogue are really the kind of team to do that. They'll want to beat MNM at their own game, get control of that top floor, force them away, and use the vertical pressure to keep MNM away, get the plant down, and win the round more conventionally.
Let's see what happens on the entry as well. As I said, coming into it, Kanto and Cryan doing particularly well over the last Playday or two, and Kanto coming in with the entry once again there. Interesting to see MNM losing a life to a nade inside of sight as well, and it was quite a decisive moment there as the nade came in through the smoke canisters, and the reason that I pick up on that particularly is that it's MNM that chose to ban out the Jaeger. If we continue to see those explosive kills coming in from the throwable utility, then questions need to be asked about how effective that ban was, especially when MNM get onto the attack. If they don't, for example, bring an absolute ton of nades along, you start really asking the question as to what was the aim of that ban.
Well, you see him coming in there as well, the little lock-up that we saw coming inside of storage. Now they're looking to play a fully vertical setup here as well. Electrified walls or reinforced off a castle barricade in the window so he can sit and play a bit more aggressively. Really good stuff. And this is what's going to have to bait Rogue into saying, right, come and get this top floor away from us if you can, because you need control of this if you're even going to look and start thinking about a plant inside of sight.
Deepek's just going to open up the white corridor window. It's just going to put a little pressure on any of the top floor roamers. It's going to cut off that rotate potentially. Kanto's looking to bring the nades once again. And as I commented on, we need to keep an eye on those throwable explosives and just how successful they are. Because if they continue to hurt and punish MNM, then we will be asking questions about that operator ban. Tyrant, he's going to drop himself back down the white stairs to the mezzanine, at least for now. He's ready to potentially pop back up and try to be a little violent Jack in the box and see if he can get any kills in towards Pixel, but for the time being, he's going to be held at bay. We've got the castle just still inside of barback storage, and tell you what, MNM are not for moving here.
They just came in there and cleared out the bulletproof as well, which is exactly what the Twitch was looking for. I always love that, by the way, a Twitch going for a camera, and the camera's just like, no, zap, stunned, and someone else then kills the shock drone. It's just a bit of beautiful, I guess, robot wars, you could call it, that comes away from a bit of firefights outside of the operators themselves. But now with the lack of protection on this top side, they should be able to get this wall cleared away. Interestingly, not wanting to back away there inside of storage to shoot those off the wall, but Neo gets a kill regardless and escapes with his life. Dream start.
Great shot across the entirety of the top floor. Cafe holds some of the longest angles that we've got inside of Siege. Now Rogue are pushing down in numbers. They've got themselves onto white stairs. Tyrant's ready. He's going to shoot Kanto in the back, who I thought was convinced there was somebody underneath, and there was. It was Solotov, but the pieces all fall into place for MNM as they come out on top of things there, just managing to take one kill after another. Neo with a beautiful fadeaway. Hits his man on the drop down the hatch. 30 seconds to go. MNM 3v1.
Before about the dreamy 1 versus 3 that he had last week, and he said that's the confidence that you needed to see coming out of me, and he's starting to hit those kind of shots. Use this with the close. MNM with round number 2 on the board. We've got a game on our hands, Tim, as we casters absolutely love saying, and I'm hoping this continues far into this game. A 3-3 split would be the dream.
It certainly would. I want to see this one go all the way, just as we saw a bit of a war, a bit of a brawl in the last matchup. Rogue versus MNM would be a beautiful one as well. It's a little bit difficult on the casting side, this one, Des. I didn't realise how many players we've got with such similar letters in their names. Neo, Nello, Leon. It can all be a little bit tongue-tied.
That's kind of the idea, mate. Just keeping you constantly...
We've got 3 players, and we've got 3 players made out of 4 letters.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Nello's name is Leon, no? It's just a rearrangement of his name.
Yeah.
That's where it came from. I don't think Neo is called Leon, thankfully.
I don't think that's his name.
Thankfully, we aren't referring to first names, but instead to player names. Let's see how this hole on the top floor goes after a quick replay, because this was a wonderful shot, and it was the fadeaway that he hits in a second that was the real beauty here as well. Just look at this. Casual as anything, like, yep, bam! Good night. Goodbye, Deepek.
Love to see those. Love to see those when players just drop away down a hatch and just keep firing as they go. Absolutely.
It's time. Leon is bringing out the goods. He's bringing along the Ying. Again, this has frustrated so many teams. MNM, a team that have banned Ying several times this stage, are now about to feel the full weight of it. Because there's no Warden on side. Yes, they've got themselves the Wamai, but that's not really enough to stop a Ying. Leon just needs to keep himself alive here, not get picked off too early. And I imagine you'll see the same as what we saw Outsiders going for in their game in the game just before this one, game number 4. It's going to be that Skylight execute.
And what you're waiting for is those Ying Candelas. That is the signal. That is go time. Once those devices go in, they're going to flash everybody within a rather generous radius. They're able to clear out the entirety of bar as a minimum, and that will be the signal for the rest of Rogue to go over the top into the bar area. They're going to drop the central skylight and try to get that diffuser down. For the time being, they'll see if they can get themselves a kill or so. They want to make sure that they're clearing out those peripheral rooms. Obviously, the Candelas can deal with bar itself, but they just need to make sure that they're in control of Cigar, that they're in control of Piano as much as they can be on bar back storage before they go for that final.
You don't want to go for the drop and then suddenly get flanked from Cigar Shop, for example, get flanked from Cocktail. Yeah, you need to put pressure elsewhere at the same time. Solotov, the Molotov, coming up from the downstairs, mind you. He's looking to cause some chaos, but the question is there going to be a flank drone on the watch? If there is, then suddenly he's in a very precarious position, already dropping his way straight back downstairs. Must have found a drone on the way up and has pulled himself away as Leon goes on the hunt, knowing that he's somewhere around downstairs, lurking away, but unfortunately he's already got himself over to the other side of the map.
Interestingly, Leon is inside of the map, so we're not going to see the skylight drop. We thought with the Ying on board, we may well see that approach, but it looks like it's going to be different. Instead, Rogue are looking for a relatively standard push, get themselves Piano. We see shots fired. Crying's not going to be able to find the man inside a washroom. There's a potential for a nade coming out here. There's one already heading on towards Cocktail, but it will be picked up by a Wamai Magnet. Of course, MNM. Ooh, Deepek, that's not ready for that one, Des. He's too concerned about that white stairs door, understandably, of course, but it's going to be Rips who gets the opener onto Solotov.
Solotov with that full journey back towards site finally gets himself involved, and unfortunately not in the way he would like. Taken out early on. You can see all these members of MNM just tucked in here towards that southeast side of the map. Ying's going to start raining through in just a second. Those Candelas now going in towards Cocktail, one towards Storage. The smokes will be the next question. Nello's got himself below a C4 in hand as well. Could he deny this plank coming through as Rips gets his second in the round? What is this coming out? C4 on side is going to find Leon in the perfect default plant spot. 2 kills back for MNM, a 3v2, and they are in control. But Rips, he's absolutely on one, ripping MNM a new one so far in the round. 15 seconds to play, and they've got to try and find something here. It's Nello with a fight back. Rips looking to try and stick the plant out here, going for a 1 versus 1. Crying wins it out, and Tim, again, I don't want to pile on one guy too much, but I can't remember the last time I've seen a Rips 3K.
No, I mean, good round from him, ultimately. He got them going, he found the opener, and, I mean, Nello played that pretty well as well. We've got to give a shout. He plays the vertical underneath, and the bit that I particularly liked wasn't necessarily the kill that he got. For me, it was how quickly Nello rotated back upstairs, because that tells me that the player's got good map awareness and game sense, because he knows that he's in a 1v3 and he's on Cafe. There's 2 staircases to lock off, which leaves 1 man spare to put the diffuser down. So he had to get up there quickly, because otherwise he'd have just been running into a gun, whichever staircase he used. So it was a good attempt from Nello, but a solid round from Rips and Rogue overall, really, to be able to just adapt a little bit. Actually, we're not going to go for the Skylight drop. We're going to do things a little bit differently. They worked around the problems, and it was a good round in the end.
Absolutely. Small issue here before we get back into things. We'll just jump out for a second whilst we get that one resolved, and then back into the game just after. But yet, been a good start so far for the side of Rogue, looking pretty in control. Admittedly, Rip's getting a 3K will do that for you in one of those rounds, but zero complaints on Rogue's side. Back down into Kitchen we go, which is where everything started back in round 1. And on the other side of things, for the defenders, it's basically the exact same lineup once again, Tim. Very dug in. And we saw that cute little bit of team play between the Smoke and the Yokais last time round. Don't know if you'll see that again this round.
Yeah, it's not... I mean, I don't think ever seen that before. Not played quite so specifically to get the kill like that. So, yeah, I'd be surprised if we see that sort of level of interplay between the operators again. But it was just a beautiful little example of what a bit of game knowledge can do as well, understanding the animations that are going to come about when the Yokai drone stun hits and everything else. It was very nicely played. But we just see at the minute, Neo, he's going to be bouncing the Yokai drone in and out of the map. Obviously, it can only stay outside for a few seconds, but just trying to get a feel for where those spawns are, where the pressure is going to mount initially.
I think it got a bit stuck in round 1, by the way, that it got stuck outside the map and couldn't get it back in because it just instantly disabled as soon as it went outside. For those who don't know, we had to change 2 cameras where they all last, I believe it's for 10 seconds outside and then deactivate, which is why you've seen some players using the Yokais more actively rather than parking them somewhere and saving them for the last 15 seconds. You use them to kind of drone actively around the map, feed information back across to your team. You do risk losing them, but especially if someone's looking to play aggressively on the defensive side of the back of them, it can yield some really good returns in finding you kills where normally you're against attackers who have got drones at their feet. This way kind of balances the books a little between both attack and defense.
Kanto going to open the hatch. This is actually really good progress from Rogue. They've got themselves in quickly. Nade is going to go out, but Tyrant's too far down the staircase to suffer to that one. It is going to signal to him that pressure is coming. But I like what Rogue are doing. They're moving quickly. They're moving confidently. They're getting themselves onto the mid floor, and we're going to see them opening that floor up in good time here, I would imagine. Tyrant is locked inside a VIP. We've already discussed the importance of this spot. Whilst that shield remains in place and the smoke is there, it makes it very difficult to play into Freezer, whether that be through a hatch being opened because he's got the soft wall open, so he can still put the toxic babe canisters in there. He can still spray through with shotgun or SMG, so that position is particularly important to clear out. Kanto, he's made good time. He's got that floor opened up. As you can see, he's been to work with the sledge, and that will continue as Rogue will try to mount the pressure inside a site.
Meet him like clockwork. C4 coming out, expecting a step across down towards that west side of mining, but just slightly mistimed there. Misplaces Kanto, wasn't looking to move across. The second C4 comes through, finds no one. Both C4s gone, so Rogue will have been counting those and knowing that now they basically aren't at any real chance of being threatened. The first call coming through, of course, negated away by those mute jammers too. You step inside the zone of a mute jammer, it immediately cancels or even blocks the call coming out from a Dakabi. So not quite as effective here when all of MNM is playing a very defensive and passive composition.
5v5 still here with 40 seconds left to go, and Rogue need to get moving. They could do with finding a kill or two, and it's not something that they've really struggled for at the beginning of rounds so far. Tyrant is actually getting aggressive and playing on the far side of that shield, but I imagine as and when he gets towards the last 20 seconds, he'll dip back and we'll see the smoke canisters come out that are just going to start blocking off that freezer push. Solitov, he does deliver with the opening kill onto Crying, so that's advantage MNM, and double down on that advantage of Tyrant manages to find Rips, and it's a 4v3 as Kanto drops and finds one, but this is not going to be easy. Diffuser down cold on the ground. It's 1v4. It's Deepek. It's shut down by Solitov. MNM, they managed to get themselves around, and this one just keeps going backwards and forwards. I think we're going to see a lot of this game because it's 2-2 and there's very little to separate.
I said after round 2, a 3-3 split is really the dream that you're looking for here, I think, if you're Rogue. Will you complain as MNM if you get 3 rounds on defense? Also, no, it kind of feels like a good gentleman's handshake in the middle to have those 3 rounds apiece. Good defense from MNM, though. They're much better than in round 1-2. Great denial on site itself, just giving no room really to Rogue to get any real kind of control. They didn't get the VIP control, for example. Smokes came raining through. It was just a lot of chaos for them when it came round to those dying few seconds. Well coordinated by MNM. Into Reading and Fireplace we go in round 5.
As you say, Rogue, I think, they'll be happy with a 3-3 split. If they can get this round done, it's ideal for them, really, because then they're only coming away with a bonus. If they manage to get the 4-2 inside of round 6, fantastic. If not, they've got at least what they want before moving on to the defensive half. We're going to see big top floor presence from MNM. We saw them use it very well last time. They got a couple of kills up on the top floor, including that nice fade away from Neo as he dropped down the hatch. So they're going to be looking for a bit more of that, I would expect. Just try to hold Rogue at bay for as long as possible, waste as much time. Really, you want to try and keep hold of the top floor for a minute and a half, 2 minutes if possible, because it doesn't take much on those verticals to start pushing people out of the plant spot in reading, because it's very shallow just inside of the door, and it can be difficult to challenge once people are establishable.
Quite a different comp coming in here as well for MNM, where last time around we saw things like the castle coming along, we had the Kaid, for example. None of those on show here. Instead, you've got things like the Alibi. You've still got the Mute, same as last time round. You've also got the Valkyrie on side, the Frost coming in. So a very different style where I can't imagine they're going to want to box anyone inside of storage this time around. Maybe a little bit more passive here, getting ready more to defend down on site. But knowing Solotov on that Alibi, he'll want to get out in the map and be causing trouble. C4 on the window, not a bad shout, but by then Rogue had already stepped away. No damage being dished out to the other side.
Yeah, it's always a worthy effort. Chuck it out there, land it on the windowsill, see what you get. But it's one of those. It's a little roll of the dice, and they don't catch anything today. They're going to come away empty-handed, and they'll have to just try again later in the round. 5v5, we've got everybody for Rogue up on top of the roof for the time being. I think Kanto's just taken the drop into red stairs, so that will start the push across the top floor. He's going to be supported as more move in. It's going to be Leon who actually goes in ahead of him. Interesting, Leon almost taking an entry position there, and he's got the diffuser in hand, so something that they need to be careful about. He is being supported by Kanto, so it's not the end of the world, but just unusual to see him going in quite so aggressively to begin with.
Now for those Valk cams on the way through as well, just in case any of those are tucked in underweight bits of furniture. We spoke about the wonderful mahogany tables inside a cafe, about the leather sofas earlier on, Tim, but none yet to be found, I don't think. Most of them still stacked up. Either way, Rogue have got themselves control of Cigar Shop and are still looking to push their way across the map. But where I'm feeling a little bit nervous already, Tim, we're down to that minute and 15, and they're only really just looking to try and contest into this top floor area. It's not looking so good so far.
A lot of panelling on the top floor as well, Des. I could imagine you having a bit of panelling at home, to be honest.
Me? I'm really boring.
Yeah, I could see you going for like a nice boardroom.
No, I'm really boring. Everything in my house is just like white walls, mate. It's well boring. White paint and anthracite.
Tyrant's going to be low health, moving down those white stairs, coming into the final 45. Kanto is able to start opening up above, and now you're going to see what I was saying about Rogue. They've got themselves in there, nearly a minute on the clock to be in control of that top floor. Solotov's in a good position, though, because likely they're going to try and drop over that banister, get themselves back into reading, and get the diffuser down on the ground. He's in a position to potentially stop that, but he gets drawn out, and that is an important drone there. He's able to take a couple of X-Kairos pellets, but Kanto is able to take his life. 5v4, 20 seconds. They need to get in, Des.
The counter there on the vertical usage, though, with the shotgun at white. That's twice now we've seen members of MNM come flying up from lower white and find a kill. Nello whipping some critical shots though around reading. This means Leon can still look to press inside a sight here. If he can step in and get this plant down, my God, is Nello going to be kicking himself. Tyrant working his way up. Plant is going down. Vertical cover is there, and they get the kills. So unfortunate. They were forced to try and push Leon as he went in for the plant there, but simply could not get away with it. Rogue snatched around, and as I said, Nello probably kicking himself a little bit there over missing what looked like an absolute sitter of a kill.
This is, what I was saying about keeping hold of top floor for as long as you can. If you give an attacking team a minute with control of top floor, they've done something wrong if they don't get into the plant spot, generally speaking, and Rogue just proved that there. They did fantastically well. No panic in them. 10, 15 seconds left. Get in. They start putting the diffuser down. They don't ultimately need to because they find the kills, and MNM are scrambling at that point. They all, funnily enough, kills come from above. They've got that vertical control, and they use it fantastically well. So Rogue managing to take round 5. That is going to be, I would expect, what they wanted from the attack. It's given them an even split as a minimum, and now they have an opportunity at least to get themselves a decent advantage here. 4-2 on the half is going to be a lot for MNM to come back from.
You said it'd be a bonus if they get to that point, but 3-3 you'll be happy walking away with. That depends entirely on how this round goes as to whether or not MNM will be feeling the heat on the attacking side of this map. Bar Cocktail, we start out on then 4, round number 6 to close out this first half of the game. Deepet back to ye old faithful in Twitch as well, has been his go-to operator now for a number of weeks. And Tim, I've got to praise him, you know, where I've criticised him in past weeks, I've definitely got to praise him. Rips at 7-2. That is a total reversal for what we've seen from him in previous weeks.
Yeah, absolutely, and you love to see it. You know, at the end of the day, as you said, you know, sometimes we do have to be critical. We do have to point out where we might expect more of players, but we never want to see it. You know, we want to see players come out and deliver their best and really sort of kick it up a gear as much as they can, and Rips has certainly done that today, so hopefully we'll see that continue as the game goes on. I'm sure he's going to be hungry for more. He'll have got a taste for it, and he's going to be droning in for the time being so that those entry players can get themselves inside. It's going to be Kanto and Deepek more than likely going in to begin things, and Crying will be joining them on the Finker as well.
Alrighty, very common and very used to seeing these kind of setups now. You'll have one inside a bathroom, you'll have one inside a cocktail, one sat around White Stairs, just looking to really hold things down here up on the top floor, at least initially, until we kind of get that weird sort of, it's kind of southwest side to northeast side of the map, this diagonal split where the front line is kind of drawn between both teams. Very used to seeing it up on the top floor by now, and Tyrant has already backed out a bathroom here with a bit of pressure coming in from Deepek once again on this white window. I'm always kind of into thinking that you should have a nade player on that window just so you can nade in towards bathroom if someone is sat there. But right now it's just a Twitch player sat there looking to provide some pressure and not let MNM use it for free.
Oh, if Kanto had a little bit of information that maybe somebody was playing in and around that hatch, or maybe it was just a suspicion, but he just batters a few shots through the soft wall of the cigar shop and in through that hatch, see if he can find anything, but it's not going to be the case. Crying looking to push inside a piano, very conscious of that Maestro cam, the Evil Eye, just feeding information in on those locations. Twitch drone might be able to do something about it. First shot will force it to open up, and then it will take another to clear it out, but for the time being, Deepek has gone the opposite way with the Twitch drone, so the Evil Eye stays in place. The nade will take it down. That is good from Rogue, getting themselves set up nicely now to start pushing forward, but they need to be careful of the clock here.
They do, yeah. Last 45 seconds or so, and looking for some control of White. There are still players sat halfway down it, so right now it's a bit of a challenging point to go through. Deepek moving himself over towards that noob out window. You can see him upside down in the rappel, waiting for his chance to step in. Tyrant with the opener in the round, bringing down Rips, and Yuzus. He's looking a bit cheeky down here on that door, looking to run out towards Snow and maybe look up towards that noob out, get a shutdown if he can. But I think Rogue have already started moving past it at this point, Tim.
It's all starting to fall apart as well. Nello and Solotov managed to get to Kanto. He's on a trade. He's going to find Nello. Deepek is established on Cocktail Balcony, shut down by Users with the Nitro from underneath. It wasn't a run out, it was an explosive. Neo gets Kanto, and that is going to be Rogue shut down on their final attack. 3-3 on the half, and nothing to separate these two teams at the minute. And we have got a put them on a radiator where they're actually going to dry, Des.
Do you do that in the bathroom? Do you have like one of them really fancy, like, you know, heated radiators in a bathroom?
A heated radiator is hardly a fancy radiator.
I'm thinking of it. It's a heated something.
It's a functioning radiator.
No, but it's a heated something because you can get them non-heated as well. What are they called?
A towel rail.
Yeah, heated towel rail then. You got one of them, yeah?
Mine is a radiator, but it is in the design of a towel rail. It's I know what you mean. It's one of those that's got like 20 like rungs, you know, like bars that you can hang stuff on. Yeah, it's one of them. So why would you not hang the wet towel on there where it's going to dry in 10 minutes versus over the banister where it's going to take about 2 days?
You know what, Tim? You are a man of fair logic and reason, and I respect you.
Drives me mad.
I just pray for your wife next time she leaves a wet towel on the banister. Let's get back into getting there. Round 7's underway. The sound is restored. That's what we came here for. And we're getting into the wet with Bar and Cocktail. And we can shut the hell up about banisters and towel rails and wet towels and so on and so forth. It's a touchy subject. Do not tweet Tim about wet towels on banisters. If you're going to do it, at least take a picture and put it on there as well. Here comes the focus, though. Thanks to that, a castle on side. Nello going to blow out a couple of those from the window, and I imagine he'll look to get on the rappel and also look to get rid of the one that looks in towards Cigar Shop.
That's going to be those opened up. Solotov's going to get himself onto the window and apply pressure towards Pixel. It's all about shaking those defenders out of Piano for the time being. It's not going to be too much of a job because they're not in there at the moment. Leon, he's going to be playing inside a cigar shot, but it's not going to be easy for him to stay there. His position is not going to be viable for long, and indeed, we see him scarper. We see him run away and head himself into barback storage through to washroom to support the defense on that side of the map instead, because if it had stayed in place, those throwables and utility would have been raining in towards him pretty soon. 6 frags on the side of MNM. I thought we might even see 8, given the Jaeger ban was their choice.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be playing a lot of nades in this half as a result of that Jaeger ban. That much can be guaranteed. MNM working their way forwards. Want to pick out a couple of those black eyes, one already being located. Love this value that you get in attacker repick, by the way, because so many teams look at IQ and go, it's just too risky. It takes up a valuable slot in the lineup. Here, when you know they're playing a Valkyrie, it is a beautiful selection. Leon being traded out as Solotov, holding on red, covers his fallen teammate.
That's going to level things up, so not all's lost for MNM there, as they do lose Tyrant along the way on the entry of the Ana. Not ideal, but still, as I say, not terrible. Does lose 2 nades with Tyrant, though, which is certainly not ideal, as we know they're going to be trying to play in behind those explosives. Solotov's got himself established inside of Cigar, going to move into Piano with Neo. Just a lot of dancing back and forwards in this area at the minute. It looks like a little bit of indecision on the side of MNM, possibly. I don't know whether they may be playing into a lack of information, given that they've only got 5 drones. It could be that they're not too confident about exactly where all these defenders are. One of the nades goes in. It's going to be good. Kanto, however, just manages to keep himself out of the line of danger. Takes about half damage, but will be in position for the remainder of the round.
Beautiful stuff. All right, then looking to go for their push through. Second one comes in. Kanto almost falling to the nade, but still holding his position like a rock here. Just waiting for more challenges to come in. How many nades are left, Tim? There are 2, and guess what? They're both in the back pocket of the Yana, who went down. So only 4 available in the round. Crying getting a kill from below. They're everywhere like ants, Tim. They just can't get rid of them. It's like going to the beach and you just find sand everywhere the next week or so. They can't get rid of it. Nello pushing his way forward, taken out by Kanto. A second to Rips. It's a 1 versus 3, and Neo, you pulled off one of these before, but I simply do not think there is time here. Pushing his way, can find the man. Look on right, looks for the man, but can't find him. Was half a second behind there. Super close to bringing another 1vx over to the side of MNM. That would have been magical.
Wow, Neo. Just setting hearts racing for a minute there. Thought he might actually pull that one off. For me, that round was won by Cryan. As Users comes into Cocktail Balcony, he's looking to get the kill onto Kanto. If he does that, it really opens things up. But Cryan, perfectly positioned downstairs in pillars, manages to hit a really nice long shot onto the man as well. Takes Users down. And as you say, at that point, it just really felt like Rogue were like ants. They were everywhere in the map. They were just in command. Going to be looking towards round number 8 now. It's going to be reading Rogue getting themselves an advantage on the defense, and MNM, for me, this is a must-win round. If they let Rogue get 2 rounds clear on the defense, but also get the confidence of winning 2 sites, you feel like there's going to be 2 more that they can find to close this out. So MNM, they can't let the gap open up. They've got to keep the pressure on. They've got to keep Rogue's backs to the walls, and for me, they've got to win this round.
They have got to keep that fight in here, although look at how it worked out in the last game. Outsiders got up to 5 and 3, and we saw the fight back come all the way through to a 7-5 from Heroic. So it's not impossible, but you don't want to put yourself in that kind of position. Once again, you've got Rogue looking to roam out around the map. They're not wanting to sit static. They want to keep MNM guessing and chasing them from pillar to post all the way throughout Cafe. Reading and fireplace for this round. Yep, up on the top floor. Roam. Yep, all things as they should be, Tim.
Certainly are. Neo's going to collect his drone, just leaving it on the ledge there, and as you say, there's going to be attention paid towards top floor. Given that they're going to the bakery roof, I'm not sure if there's just going to be a little bit of a horizontal push here, maybe get in through mining as well and look to move across, but I wouldn't expect them to completely ignore the top floor, which they are not doing. We've got the thinker of Solotov on the rappel on the window for the time being before he heads up to the very top floor. The hatch has been opened for him, joins his teammate up there as well, likely Users on the sledge. Kanto, we've seen in this position before. We commented on his overstay, Des, and then we've seen improvement over the last couple of weeks. This is literally going to be a direct comparison, so we can see exactly how Kanto plays this. Does he overpeak? Does he overstay? Or is he going to play his life for a little bit longer this time?
Absolutely, yeah. It's always been the big question is, can he improve on that? And we saw a massive improvement on their last bank game as well. Really good to see the night and day difference compared to Playdays 1 and 2. We'll see if that's continued, because at this point, Solotov is already starting to eye his way in towards Train. There is, I think it's a Valkyrie of Leon dancing back and forth inside of sight, now bolting out towards White, almost finding him indeed, but not quite able to do so. Drone coming inside a Train will be their ticket to move forwards. As there's one inside a pillar, there might be an engagement coming in here, Tim, as well. Solotov looking out the right way. The ping comes in. It's an absolute freebie. Rips running into a sitter from Solotov.
As you say, a free bit indeed. Nothing the Kaig could do to challenge there. And Rips has just slowed down a bit from that earlier great play that we'd seen that had him on 7 kills. Only one since the rehost. We're going to see a second kill come in for MNM. It's going to be Leon going down on the Valkyrie. Can be on the cams, can be using those black eyes to feed information back in, but won't be able to take any action off the back of them. Kanto hasn't been playing in this position the whole time. He did dip himself back to Lumber. We were asking that question about him, his position, in whether he was overly aggressive. He actually moved away and come back, gets himself a kill. So again, showing that sort of ebb and flow in the game is definitely improving with him. That is a big moment. Deepak, however, is going to be downed elsewhere. 30 seconds left to go, and Kanto nearly gets himself another. But Nello shuts down Crying. It's effectively now 1v4.
The Croatian criminal gets away with it, dodges the bullets, gets a kill for himself, and Kanto with one hell of a shot. Nello's got a kill, dodged for firefight, and is getting the plant down. He's doing it all in one round. Kanto working his way around in a 1 versus 3. Flash coming out, won't get white screen just yet, but he's got a lot of work to do inside 35 seconds. Sees the angle being held. Is this the infamous Kanto clutch that we're all looking for? The man sees and can't quite find him. Kanto wins 1. He's found a triple kill. He's got to get an ace and a defuse to get all the way through this round. Goes for a pre-fire, but gets swung by Tyrant. No, he can't do it. A 3k in the round, but it's still won out by MNM. The back and forth continues, Tim.
A nice effort from Kanto, and as we said, just that management of his life left him alive in the late stages there to potentially have that big impact, but ultimately it was 3 meaningless kills as MNM were able to close it down after getting the diffuser down. A better attacking round from them, and a promising one as well. It levels them up 4-4, and it also says to Rogue that there's at least one site on here that you have struggled to shut down. If MNM can now get a win in Kitchen, it might just leave Rogue scratching their head a little bit as to how exactly they're going to get this one over the line. MNM, they need to keep the pressure on here. They can't let Rogue start getting back into this.
They cannot. But to be honest with you, Tim, it has been so back and forth again. They've literally been 1 for 1 for 1 for 1 round so far. You can't drive a wedge between the two teams, and even when one pulls ahead to say 4-3 or 5-4, history throughout this game has shown that the other team will win the following round, so it's really hard to call which way these rounds will go. We go downstairs in towards Cafe and Kitchen, and can Rogue break the deadlock? Can they find 2 in a row and pull them towards those 3 points they sorely need? Because same as we were saying about Heroic in the previous game, for Rogue, it's even more so. If you lose this game, you are sucked into that battle for the major. You win it, you are basically guaranteeing yourself a spot there, although in Rogue's case, they have got to win at least one more game to absolutely lock it in. Users on the Monty this time around. Going to be bringing the big shield to try and get himself inside a bakery by the looks of things. That's the direction that he's hiding. Gets himself up to the line of the building, gets the drone out, and it's going to be moving in, checking out, seeing that the man is in behind the bakery wall. It's going to be Kanto, and again, will he stay in this position? Will he drop back through the rotate? It's there. It's available for him if he wants to move himself out of it. Ooh. Rips is going to be pushed away. Solotov gets Kanto. He doesn't. He sticks in there, tries to get that opening kill this time, and he's going to be taken down. Solotov having another good day on the entry, particularly in the second half here. We saw him going really big on the entry the other day. Him and Mowgli really facing off against each other, but he's getting himself a little bit livelier in this game now. Yeah, absolute field day so far. Wonderful to see. And now they're getting prepped for some aggression coming out of the restaurant side. Tyrant's got himself up in that little mini tower, just waiting to see if anyone dares look out the window, because if so, he's there ready and waiting to pick up an absolute freebie. But all focus should be on this Monty in this round. Where's the push going to come from? What is the plant attempt going to be? And you wager so far, it's likely going to be inside a bakery. Well, not the plant inside a bakery,
themselves established.
Push through bakery. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We do. We know what you mean.
Thanks, mate.
Don't worry, we'll let you
Thanks,
off.
mate.
A long time since you've been able to plant in Bakery. A long time.
Long time ago.
What a sight that was with all the windows lining along it. Woo-wee! That was not a defensive sight. Monte, he's going to be pushing in through Bakery Kitchen. He's looking to just, again, make life uncomfortable for those defenders. And Nade goes over the top. Leon nearly bites the dust. That could have been an absolute beauty there, but doesn't quite catch his man. Leon can stay in position behind the bar. Second attempt from Tyrant. And Leon getting away. We've got a battle of explosives over there. It's like a deadly game of tennis going on.
You send me some of yours, I'll send you some of mine back. Leon says, can't find anything off the back of it, but smokes are coming out. The Finker juice is in the veins. They're going for the push forward. Leon bringing one back onto the man with the same namesake on the other side. A 4 versus 4. Still a lot of time to play, so things can slow down for a brief second, but Yuzu's not looking too good for wear here. Timmy's down to about 25 HP. 2 kills coming for MNM. They might be able to break the chain here and find 2 in a row, Tim. They've got one more. 4 of them left alive, all flooding in towards site. Cryin has got a lot of work to do on the vertical, and I don't think he can stop this plant going down.
I wouldn't expect so. Solotov retrieving the diffuser. He's going to try to get it stuck down. Cryan's looking for the angle. The yellow pin comes in, but there's just not enough for him to get any shots down. Solotov has come off the plant for the time being. He's going to give it another go, and he needs to stick it this time. They know exactly where the man's coming from. Tyrant shuts him down with the information from the Monte. He's waiting in behind the bar, and he serves him up a treat. Shuts him down, and MNM, they get themselves the lead. It's 5-4, and what a game we've got.
Most importantly, Tim, they've broken that deadlock. They've got 2 rounds in a row. Rogue have not been able to do that so far. Neither have MNM. And this is where I think you'll start feeling that pressure as Rogue going into the next round. I guess the nice thing you've got on your side here is that really you now have a full choice of sites. You can choose where you go. But they've gone for a relatively fixed rotation of bar into reading into kitchen. I expect we'll see that again for the next 3 rounds, assuming we need all 3 rounds and the MNM don't suddenly pull ahead. So keep a close eye on what the next set of rotations are going to be. Again, there I feel didn't really have an answer for the Monty, had an answer for the smoke in the Warden, but outside of that, I think left a little bit shortchanged against the Shield.
Yeah, the rotation's going to be an interesting question because, as you say, they've tried each of the 3 not first choice sites, but you know what I mean, the normal rotation of 3 sites. So now if they start that again, and I think they are going to go up to bar to begin with, you know, they start that again. If they don't win in bar now, what do you do? Because you've just lost your last 3 sites. Do you just continue through your rotation and go to reading? Do you try to double down on bar and just make a few slight adjustments and try it again? Or do you just completely mix it up and go to mining? And there's 3 questions there that are really begging, and like, there's no right answer to it, and that could become a big problem for Rogue because the next one after this will be a must-win. If MNM can win here on top floor, it puts them on map point, and all of a sudden, Rogue have got this big site decision to make. And everything rides on it.
It does. Look at the picks once again coming in, though. The IQ as a counter in towards the Valkyrie. Seen this one already once coming out of Neo. So glad to see it returning once again. Same as we saw in round 7, interestingly. And the lineup coming out of Rogue, exactly the same. Why wouldn't it? Why fix what ain't broken? They won this back in round 7. It's just those next two sites that they've really got to start worrying about. Because if we follow how the third quarter went, those 3 rounds coming back onto the side of MNM, or 2 of the 3, sorry, they'll be walking away with this 7 and 5. So Rogue have got to come up with some ideas in future rounds. But for this one, they're saying, you know what, we can do the same thing again, and pretty confident we can walk away the winner, even though it came down to Neo almost pulling off a 1 versus 4.
Just setting up the top floor, Kanto opening up the handrail there. Good. If you're wondering why, it's to not only allow the drop down, but it also allows you to traverse between those 2 platforms. Once you've shot out the corner, thank you very much, you can just move across. You can just walk from one to the other. But I tell you what, getting moved, Leon's going to get moved down that hatch. He flops like a rag doll as he drops. Tyrant able to find those shots, shut the man down, and that is not a good start for Rogue.
I didn't see that was a bit of team play, but I imagine he popped the castle barricade off the double cigar doorway and then just immediately shot through into cigar shot from the southern window. So either it was a good bit of team play or he gone 6'd it and then got his rifle out. I'm not quite sure, but it's an easy kill and one really that Leon should have been more prepared for, I'd imagine, knowing they didn't have control of Piano. One he pays for with his life, and that's 3 rounds in a row now that MNM have found the entry kill, really warming up in rounds 8 onwards. A second kill coming in, Cryin again being caught from these odd angles. 2 kills for Rogue that you would argue didn't need to be a thing.
If you remember at the beginning of this game, I said that MNM had more than they have shown us in EUL so far, and we just needed them to start delivering those performances that we've seen from them over the last 12 months. And this is starting to look more like the MNM that we know. Once they get on top, they are a very difficult team to beat. Your players like Solotov, Tyrant, and Neo particularly getting on top of teams and just grinding them down with the kills, not letting them breathe. Tyrant there finding another onto Rips. Kanto manages to get one back, but it brings them back to a 2v4. It's still a last gas situation for Rogue here. They've got to make something special happen. Deepak, he manages to hit users on the flank, but that is it. The flank is done. They know exactly where he is now, and they're going to find him. It's a trade, but it doesn't matter. MNM, they get themselves onto 6. They get themselves onto map point, and they give themselves the opportunity to take a win on Cafe. One more round.
Oh boy, I mean, looking at the other games today, they've kind of gone the way many would have expected. You know, even if it came down to nickel and diming your way through to a 7-5 win, a win was still a win for those teams in the battle for 3rd and 4th, or even now 1st and 2nd. If MNM win this, Rogue, like I say, it's a real spanner in the works of their ambitions. They'll be on 13 points, the same as LFO, the same as G2, only 1 point ahead of BDS. One of those 5 teams, or one of these 4 teams, will not make it to the major. Heroic are basically locked in, but those are the 4 teams. One team will not make it, and Rogue, after today, did not want to get sucked back into this mess. At the very least here, they can get 2 points, but they need a magical 4-round flourish to make that happen.
And the thing is, the last couple of rounds, it's not like they have the momentum, Des. It's not like they've done anything particularly special in the last few rounds. Honestly, Rogue have looked a little bit lost, a little bit out at sea at the minute. MNM just able to find angles, able to find the advantage each time onto them, and Rogue just seeming to slip further and further behind as this one goes on. So it's going to need a drastic effort from them. It's going to need something significantly differently. Interestingly, Leon, he's bringing along the pulse this time. Do you think maybe it's a bit of lack of information? Do you think that's going to be the difference?
To a level, but you've had things like the Valkyrie on side, and that's obviously helped to some level, but IQ has always countered it. Pulse, although you look at it and go, oh, well, it's countered by the IQ. She'll catch out his scanner, for example. It's not quite as clear-cut as that, because this early info when you're on Repel, for example, not so easy to clear out. You can't always get directly above without the Pulse knowing that you're there. So it's one of those that I think I'm looking at and saying, okay, they want a freebie here. They want to get a C4 from below. They've got 2 to play behind. They're trying to give some information to the rest of the team to help them not get caught out. Because looking at that last round again, the first 2 kills, they didn't need to happen. They were needless deaths coming out from Rogue.
Nade is going to come in here. This one might just find its target. Kanto, no! Manages to dance away from it. Fancy footwork to find a kill onto Solotov. And that's a big opener for Kanto. I honestly thought he was going to lose his life to the Finker there. But no, gets the kill on the window. And that is the sort of play that Rogue needs.
Beautiful stuff. Gives him a good wallet there, you might say, Tim, as well. One coming back the other way. Deepak falling down. Tyrant pulling that one back. He's having a great game since we've had that rehost at the half. 7-2 so far. Brilliant performance. And Rogue being scared away from that white stairs rotate purely because of the nades coming singing in from the window. Neo again. Rogue just keep on getting picked off from these windows, and I worry about the player sat inside a shop here. I don't think they've droned out crying. If they know he's there, he's screwed. Simple as.
Absolutely, should be, and there you go. That's the answer. He's going to have to move. He gets himself away. There's nobody in position to be able to drop down. Yes, there is. Tyrant's going to find his man. That's going to take crying out, and surely this should now be an MNM game as he gets another on to the man Rips. Leon closed down on the top floor, and that's going to be MNM taking things, and what a turnaround from the UK side.
Absolutely magical, Tim. It felt like they were just hunting wild rabbits at that point. Scare them a little bit, watch them run, and hold the cross angles. Beautiful pinches from MNM in those last few rounds. 4 on the bounce. Rogue going to be really kicking themselves because, like I say, Tim, they're now being sucked back into that battle in the top 4. But they do have a superior